They'll laugh at your jokes, say yes when they mean no, and apologize even when you're the one who hurt them. But don't be fooled. This isn't kindness. It's terror. People-pleasing isn't about love. It's about survival. And if you think you might be one, or if you love one, then what you're about to hear might sting. But it'll also set you free. Because the truth is, people-pleasers aren't soft. They're shaped by fear, by shame, and by ancient conditioning so deep, it's almost genetic. Let me show you why the person who smiles the most might be the one suffering in silence the loudest. In 1854, a man named Dr. Hugh Welch Diamond began photographing asylum patients in England. One woman, labeled only as case number 17, always smiled. Every photo, every session. But Dr. Diamond noted something disturbing. She smiled only when spoken to. When left alone, her face would collapse into a frozen, empty expression. Not sadness, not fear, just absence. This is where it begins. What psychologists now call fawn response. A lesser-known trauma reaction hiding behind the more famous three. Fight, flight, and freeze. Fawning is the fourth. It's the art of self-erasure. It's when the nervous system decides, if I become whatever you need, maybe you won't hurt me. This isn't empathy. It's self-protection. And like K-17, many people-pleasers don't even realize they're performing, because the mask they wear eventually becomes a face they think is real. Let's get scientific. There's a structure in your brain called the anterior cingulate cortex. It lights up when you make a mistake, or when you think someone is disappointed in you. But in chronic people-pleasers, this area is hyperactive. MRI studies show that people with chronic fawning tendencies exhibit the same neural firing pattern as someone who's just been physically hurt when they imagine letting someone down. In other words, a people-pleaser's brain experiences disappointment, like a threat to survival. Now, where did this wiring come from? It starts earlier than you think. In the 14th century, orphanages in Europe had a hidden epidemic. Babies were fed, changed, kept clean, but they weren't held. They weren't smiled at. A staggering number of them died. Doctors called it failure to thrive. But later studies revealed the truth. Human connection is not a luxury. It's a biological requirement. And when a child senses they can't make mom or dad happy by being themselves, they adapt quickly, radically. They become whatever mom or dad wants, or needs, or won't punish. And that becomes personality. Everyone loves the nice one, the helpful friend, the agreeable coworker, the smiling partner who never asks for much. But what no one tells you is, people pleasers lie, constantly, not to manipulate, but to survive. They lie about being okay. They lie about what they want. They lie with their smiles, their silence, their compliance, and the world rewards them. In fact, in 1971, a study known as the Good Child Syndrome found that children rated most obedient by teachers were also the ones with the highest levels of suppressed cortisol, the body's main stress hormone. Their silence wasn't peace. It was panic in disguise. So the next time someone says, they're just such a nice person, ask yourself, or are they just too scared to say otherwise? Let's talk family. People pleasers are often born, not chosen, but not genetically, environmentally. In high-control homes, religious, cultural, or chaotic, children often develop what's called conditional worth. This is a hidden belief. Love is earned, and only if I behave just right. Sometimes the message is clear. Don't talk back. Don't upset your father. Be a good girl. Make us proud. Other times it's more subtle. A cold shoulder after speaking up. An eye roll when they express a need. Praise only when they're performing. Over time, these messages sink deep. They don't think, I'm pretending. They think, this is who I am. But deep down there's a buried self. Angry, lonely, starving. Because when you build your personality around other people's needs, you abandon your own. And here's the dark secret. That abandonment doesn't just hurt, it fragments you. In Japanese folklore, there's a spirit called the Napporobo, the faceless ghost. It looks human, but the face is blank. No eyes, no mouth, just smooth skin. Legend says these ghosts appear when someone has lost their identity from being ignored, erased, or silenced. Now, think of the people pleaser. No strong preferences, no real boundaries, no self outside the reflection of others. Sound familiar? In psychology, this is called identity diffusion. It's common in codependency, trauma survivors, and yes, chronic fawners. They don't know what they like. They're not sure what they want. They're scared to have needs because they've been trained, sometimes since childhood, that having needs makes them a problem. So they become what the room requires. But the cost is a ghost where a person should be. Here's the part no one expects. You don't fix people pleasing by being more selfish. You fix it by learning how to feel safe. Because chronic fawning is not a character flaw. It's a nervous system adaptation. Dr. Stephen Porges, creator of the polyvagal theory, explains that when someone is stuck in fawn mode, their ventral vagal complex, the part of the nervous system responsible for social safety, is underactive. In simple terms, the body doesn't believe it's safe to exist as itself. So here's the counterintuitive solution. You don't yell at yourself to stop people pleasing. You soothe the animal in you that still thinks it's in danger. Breath work, co-regulation, somatic therapy, tiny acts of defiance, saying no to a text, speaking honestly once a day, showing up messy on purpose. You don't unlearn people pleasing by reading quotes. You unlearn it by slowly proving to your body that nothing explodes when you choose yourself. The people pleaser isn't kind. They're compliant. But deep underneath, there's a feral, beautiful, untamed thing. One that remembers what they like. One that burns with rage at all the years they said yes when they wanted to scream no. One that's not here to keep the peace, but to become whole. And that version of you, the one you've buried beneath the smile, they're not too much. They're you, and they're waiting.